Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 23 News. I'm Nicole Menner. Mississippi State's Joe Moorhead is one of 6 SEC coaches entering their first full year as the school's head coach. Moorhead comes to Starkville after 2 years spent as offensive coordinator at Penn State. And at SEC Media Days, he talked about transitioning from the Big Ten to the SEC.
Certainly when you're talking about that level of football, we're recruiting and playing with the best of the best in the country, and teams from the Big Ten and the SEC, invariably end up in the college football playoff. I think it's really kind of out of the frying pan and into the fire. That I think it's was a great proving ground, and certainly my time and experience in the Big Ten will be one that has prepared me well for the rigors of the SEC. Certainly, until somebody's capable of knocking Alabama off, they're the standard bearer. And not just Alabama, but you go down the SEC West on a weekly basis, and even our crossover games that, much like the Big Ten, and talked about out there a little bit, that the margin of error is razor thin. And, at Penn State last year, we were 4 points away from being undefeated. Lost to Ohio State by 1 and lost to Michigan State by 3. And in a conference like this, you have to be on top of it every single week if you want to have an opportunity, to be back in Atlanta in December and certainly continuing your season beyond that.
And coming after SEC Media Days, 5 Bulldogs were placed on the preseason All-SEC team. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons and defensive end Montez Sweat both earned first-team recognition, as MSU was the lone school in the conference to place 2 defensive linemen on the first team. Quarterback Nick Fitzgerald, running back Aris Williams, and safety Mark McLaurin all selected to the All-SEC third team. MSU was pegged to finish third in the SEC West Division behind Auburn and defending champ Alabama. Ole Miss was set to finish 5th. After the Miami Dolphins received backlash for reportedly putting out a team policy that could suspend players who protest on the field during the national anthem, the NFL and Players Association have agreed to press pause on the new policy that was implemented back in May. That rule forbid players from sitting or taking a knee if on the field, but allowed them to stay in the locker room during the playing of the anthem if they chose. The two sides issued a joint statement saying no new rules relating to the anthem will be issued or enforced for the next several weeks. Day 2 of the Open from Scotland wrapped up this afternoon. Zach Johnson and Kevin Kisner both sitting atop the leaderboard at 6 under par. Some other notables: Rory McIlroy just 2 strokes off the leaders at 4 under. Last year's winner Jordan Spieth tied with Ricky Fowler at 3 under, while longtime vets Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson both tied at even par. And taking a look at some of the guys that did not make the cut, the #1 player in the world, Dustin Johnson, out, as well as John Ram and Bubba Watson. And some day baseball for you. Ominous clouds in Chicago, very fitting for the Cubs, who are definitely going to want to put this game far behind them. Team ace John Lester was on the mound, but it was not his day. However, it was Cardinals' Matt Carpenter's day. After hitting a solo shot in the first inning, he came up and did it again in the second, and then again in the 6th. It was a solo shot, a 2-run shot, and then a 3-run shot. 7 RBI for him on the day, just the second player in history to hit 3 home runs and 2 doubles. The Cards won it 18-5. So quite a big day for Matt Carpenter.
Somebody was hot.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's not the youngest player out there either, and he's still crushing it.
Good. I always love seeing that. I love it when the older players do well.